All right. Hey guys, long time no see. Sorry for the brief hiatus. Um, just enjoying, the downtime as we all are. Uh, anyway, welcome to the Unity podcast. This is episode 9 now. Um, and I kind of wanted to keep this one a little bit brief compared to the other ones. I know usually my episodes are far longer, usually about an hour, over an hour. But yeah. Anyway, tonight I am joined by Nashay,
Hello.
and so this is mainly to be just a little update and um, just to keep people uh, optimistic. We want to keep that hope alive. That's a lot of people need love right now. So I
Give
just
you guys some reinforcements that everything's gonna be okay. So
yeah, yeah, and again, I'm not trying to downplay. I'm not trying to downplay the situation at all. This is serious for a lot of us, and we've got a challenging road ahead of us. Um, a lot of us have had to make sacrifices. I don't think any of us were prepared for this, but this is a learning. This is an experience, a learning experience for us, and
I will admit that some of my more in-depth conspiracy theory friends kind of prepared for this, and now I'm having to foolishly, applaud them for trying to warn us all.
okay, well, nobody really, except for the survivalists. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
but uh, what I did want to mention right out of the gate is if you guys haven't heard already, the FDA just approved on a national scale the use of hydroxychloroquine as a viable where they're testing the uh, viability of the drug as we speak. But the reason why, and I know some of you have been saying, well, how could the FDA approve a untested drug, and God knows it's going to happen. Look, we know last week, or I think it was the week before. The fucking days are just blending together now. Anyway,
They are.
we know that the president had started touting chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine as a uh, as a sort of miracle drug. And then, if you recall, if any of you were watching the live briefing, the FDA, I think he was the chief of the FDA or director. Anyway, he basically contradicted the president, and he was like, "We have to understand that this is not a proven drug. There's been anecdotal cases of it being successful. We're not saying that he said like they weren't going to roll it out unless they got more data in, and you know, um, so I think what's happened since then is uh, we know that a lot of hospitals, a lot of institutions are in communication with each other across the globe right now. So my feeling is that doctors and researchers probably shared the data um, with our researchers and doctors and scientists, and then the FDA said, okay, well, there's enough data for us to start rolling out something. because really, like, we've got to try something at some point. Otherwise the situation, is just going to keep going higher. Like the cases are going to keep getting higher and higher and higher, and they want to try something now than not try anything at all. And in their own words, they said that the benefits outweigh the risks. So that's why they greenlit hydroxychloroquine. So,
Yep.
as far as what I read about it, there's a study that was recently done in France where they took around 42 patients. They took 12 of them and placed them in their own group and had them as a control. So they didn't receive hydroxychloroquine. The other part of the group, I can't even do math right now, so forgive me,
Don't
but
even worry
the
about
other
it.
like 20 or so.
They can figure it out.
Yeah, the other 20 or so were given hydroxychloroquine, and they found that within, I believe they said 5 to 7 days, there was absolutely no trace of the virus in their bodies.
Yep.
Yeah, and so people who were worried about the side effects, because hydroxychloroquine, when taken in a prolonged setting, can actually lead to vomiting, diarrhea, and more severe things. But they're saying the treatment is really only for 5 to 7 days, and within that time, a little bit. It's like over. I think they said a little bit over 60% efficacy rate. So that's pretty impressive for for this drug. I mean, and the great thing is hydroxychloroquine has been around for 50 years. So a lot of doctors, they know about its effects. They know the side effects, or the potential risk for certain people, things like that. So I just wanted to say that a little bit. We're stepping in the right direction, I feel. Uh, so let's all hope. If you whatever faith you believe in, or just send positive energy to our researchers and the people on the front lines, and let's hope that it works. And
guys, I do want to say too, like, um,
T.
the things that our healthcare providers are doing right now to try to get this more under control, or even just to stop the spread. It's very reassuring to me, and I know on previous podcasts on here that I've talked about different things that the hospitals are doing and pharmacies and stuff like that. And I just wanted to let you guys know I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm not going and just checking out these places for fun. I'm going because I do have healthcare problems that I have to be very close to my doctors about. And so unfortunately that right now means I have to be going to the hospitals. I've had to go to a couple of pharmacies, a couple different offices. And I want to just real quick, the hospitals themselves, all of the ones that I personally have gone to and what I have read online, they're all doing screening questions before you can even walk into the hospital. And that's if you're being seen by a doctor, if you're going to the ER, or even if you're just entering the hospital for some other reason, you have to go through screening questions. And what I experienced, I had to unfortunately go to the ER the other night, and they had a team of nurses outside, even before you even walked into the hospital, asking those screening questions and requiring to read your temperature, and they would assess you from there. I personally, I did have a fever. My fever when I got there was 103.7, which obviously set set them off, and so I was immediately quarantined a little bit. Instead of waiting in the waiting room with all the other patients, they had me kind of in this separate room. And they did have another area aside from separate rooms for people that were having more symptoms than that. And they're trying their hardest to get this under control, guys. And I know a lot of people are just complaining about, this is all too much. Is this really necessary? It's just a flu, things like that. And regardless, even if it's just a flu, you guys, it's still spreading and it's still hurting other people. So I was immediately quarantined. They, even for all patients though, for like the triage, they were fully suited up. The nurse was changing out her gloves with every single patient. And they were even in the triage room between each patient, they're wiping down the seats. They're wiping down the door handles. Everything that we touch, they wipe down in between patients, whereas normally they just kind of see patients throughout the night and clean stuff a little bit as they go. They're being very meticulous in their cleaning right now, which is amazing. And it is causing people to, get a little frustrated because it's taking longer, but they're just trying to ensure our safety and their safety as well. And then when I got back into a room, because I did have that fever, the doctor went ahead and tested me based on just that, because it is a huge sign. And just so you guys know, the fever requirement for COVID right now is anything that is 101 and up. Previously people have tried to say 99 or 100 was, considered a fever. For COVID itself, it has to be 101.0 and up from there, just so you guys know. But regardless, the doctor, before he came into my room, he got fully suited up in their personal protective equipment, which involves looks kind of like a plastic blue garbage bag with armholes in it. He had that. He had 2 different types of masks on. Obviously, the glasses, the safety glasses, and a face shield. So he came into the room. We kind of talked about why I was there, that sort of thing. And before he left the room, he had to, while he was 6 feet away from me, before he left my room, he had to take off all of that equipment, sanitize what he could reuse, and then leave the room. And each nurse that would come in had to do that as well. So just in case you guys are showing symptoms or anything like that, kind of what to expect when you go in there, just like a quick run through. So like I said, they're going to ask you questions before you even walk in the door. And the questions are, have you been around anyone that has tested positive for COVID? Have you traveled outside the United States? Or have you traveled outside of the state in general? And what symptoms you are showing. So based on those questions and what applies to you, they will triage you. And just a reminder too, guys, if you're in an ER and you're waiting a long time, sometimes that can be a good thing. And I know that sounds weird, but the ERs are triaging based on the severity of your illness, not by who gets there first. So if they're telling you you can wait a little bit longer, it means that they are helping someone else that is experiencing life-threatening, immediate, just emergencies that they can't wait, to be honest. So ER wait times could be a little bit high right now, just so you know. But they'll triage you, which means they're going to take your temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, and ask you some questions. From there, they can either separate you if they think they need to, or you'll be asked to go back out in the waiting room. And then if you are showing symptoms for COVID, when you get back to your room, they're going to do a test, which involves a nasal swab. It is very uncomfortable, unfortunately. They also test for the regular flu while they do the COVID test as well. Both are nasal swabs, and they are super uncomfortable. It feels like they're trying to tickle your brain, and it's just not great. They will do a chest x-ray. Sometimes they will also do an EKG and a blood test to test your red blood cells as well as your white blood cell count. So that's kind of what to expect. Obviously, the test can take anywhere from 12 to 24 hours to have a result. But I personally was not showing any symptoms other than my fever, which was a side effect from the reason why I had to go to the ER, not because I was positive or even had COVID symptoms.
The other thing that I also want to mention is that some places have been reporting that for the tests, for the results, some people are having to wait supposedly up to 2 weeks. But the thing is that they're trying to scrutinize the tests as best they can to make an accurate determination as to how far along someone is, or if they even have it, or basically what to do from there. So I know it is frustrating, and a lot of us out there are scared, but we have to let the healthcare professionals do what they do. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. We can't emphasize this enough. The importance of social distancing and staying isolated. I know, like here, for example, a lot of us have big families. You know, a lot of us have, cousins, aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters. Basically, they have huge families here, and so there's this desire to go over to, you want to go over to your auntie's house, you want to go over to your uncle's house, your cousins, whatever. You want to have your cousins come over. We can't do that. We can't do that. At least not for right now. And you guys, anyone who's listening to this, you got to keep that in mind. That's the only way we're gonna flatten the curve, and just be smart about it. Don't be fucking stupid. Like, yes, it's true that, or at least from the doctors that I've been hearing, like, if you go to YouTube and you type in Medcram, that's MEDCRAM, he puts out a lot of really detailed, in-depth videos on the current situation and strategies, things like that, and new findings that are coming out about it. And Dr. Berg is one I mentioned previously too. But anyway, they're all saying that even though 80% of the people who get the virus will exhibit mild symptoms and will recover, the 20% that will need to be hospitalized needs to be basically that 20%. Like, you cannot have people going to the hospital because they feel slightly different. And I know it's kind of nerve-wracking, but you have to also think that you don't want to add stress on our healthcare system because it's already stressed enough as it is. And if you go there and you have what might amount to just a cold, you're not only stressing them out and putting them at risk, you're also putting yourself at risk for then contracting COVID-19. So,
because if you guys have a cold and it's just a cold and you go to the hospital and you're exposed to that, your immune system is already weak from having that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just going to increase that chance more. So you have to pay attention to the guidelines. If you guys have been doing what we're supposed to be doing, staying home, staying away from people, social distancing when you go out to get groceries, you're only supposed to leave your house once a week for groceries.
Mm-hmm.
So plan your meals ahead of time. That's the best way to do it. And everything you'll need for each meal, so that you don't have to make multiple runs. But if you've been practicing everything that they want us to be doing, you're not.
What's up,
You're not.
Stacy?
It's not just going to appear in your house. It's not just going to randomly come through the window and you're going to get infected. They're putting these restrictions in place to keep us safe.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And the other thing is, for those of you that may be concerned about, let's say, like food, from what I read on the FDA website, and the World Health Organization, there's currently no evidence that the virus can actually get on food. The only thing that it does stick to potentially is packaging. So if you do get food, you are going to have to take some measures to clean the packaging at the very least. And if you're handling fresh produce, you are going to want to clean the produce. Some people use cold water. You don't really want to use soap, because soap has chemicals in it that are abrasive to fruits and vegetables, and soap is really meant for dishes in your hands anyway. So you want to use either cold water, or some people are using apples. I think it's apple cider vinegar, or grape.
Yeah.
There's a grapefruit extract. Like, it's like a spray. It's like a vegetable spray, and you can use that too. But so far, the good news is that there is no transmission through food itself. So, don't really freak out so much over that. Again, you can go to the FDA website and check that out too. World Health Organization also. And the other thing is, I just wanted to mention too, a lot of us are. It's an interesting time, to say the least. But one of the things that I've been seeing that is wonderful is the amount of people that are coming together across the world, that are giving to their communities, helping each other, whether that's through things that uplift the spirit, buying and dropping off food for other people. That probably one of the greatest things I've seen so far is that here in the States, there's been a lot of people who have 3D printers, and what's been happening is people have been uploading the source code for printing out things like face shields, and they've been sharing that information with other people that have 3D printers for free across the country. And so what's happening is that people are able to now print out face shields and send them to their hospitals to supplement the PPE. And another example here in Hawaii, on Maui, we've been having our mayor just gave I think it was maybe today or yesterday, gave a $100,000 grant to a company here that is now manufacturing emergency equipment for our hospital, as well as other companies that are also on the island that are now manufacturing personal protective equipment for the hospital. So,
and I know the U.S. has also been getting help from a couple other countries, and so they're sending us their protective equipment as well. Yep. Last I checked, it was those masks. Oh my gosh, what masks? My mind just went blank.
N95, sweetheart. N95.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. That's the shortage right now, and it's unfortunately, a lot of it has to do with people that are hoarding masks and ordering them, and thinking that they need them if they don't work in the medical field just day to day. So you guys, like, you don't have to hoard so much stuff. I promise you don't.
Yeah.
That's just going to make it harder for everyone else. So don't panic. There is light at the end of this tunnel. We just have to stay calm and just keep as close to your regular schedules as possible because, don't, like I said, anyways, don't hoard is my point, because there are healthcare providers, there are hospitals that cannot get enough equipment to keep themselves safe.
Yeah.
And I can't even, if you don't realize the true severity of that, I don't know what you're doing, because that's number one, is our healthcare providers have to be able to protect themselves and all patients.
Yep. And the other thing is, I want to say, sorry I got to do this, but I want to call out Generation Z right now, because
you shots fired. Oh no.
Yeah, I got to be real. I got to be real here. You motherfuckers are the reason why the national quarantine measures have been prolonged to April 30th, because you dumbasses want to go around, have parties. Who the fuck wants to have a coronavirus party? Like, I mean, you guys are seriously fucking stupid. Like, aren't they they're the same generation that did the Tide Pod challenge? Am I correct? Like, that was like last year, I think. Like, what the fuck? Like, honestly, what the actual fuck goes on in your heads that makes you think that these things are a good idea? Like, how selfish are you? Like, you don't have any consideration for yourself, for your family, even like for your friends or your friends' family. Like, because what you go back home, or you go back to your grandpa's house because you were just over at your friend's house, and then you wonder why they get sick, because your dumbass decided to defy the laws, the rules that are being set in our country right now that applies to everybody. It applies to everybody. Okay?
Yep.
And just fucking pay attention. Like, don't be a part of the fucking problem. Because
I think honestly it was Gen Z, and then part of it was I'm going to call it the boomers in this one, because a lot of you didn't think, they're like, oh, this is going to blow over, it's fine. And Gen Z thought, like, oh, this is a big deal, but we're still going to party. Like, come on, guys. We're better than this. Please.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is, look, the whole thing is if people are not following the guidelines here, we are going to have to be locked down for longer, okay? And the goal, again, is to flatten that curve, because it's very simple. It's a simple concept to grasp. If everyone is staying home, okay, because the mechanics of this virus works in such a way that when people are in close proximity to one another, all right, the virus has a chance to travel through the air into the other person, into the airways of the other person, and then that person gets it, they go back home, they spread it to the people in the home, then they go back out again, and then they spread it to someone else. That's why this is so contagious, because people are still crowding the fucking area. Like, and I just want to say to the people in New York City, because my dad lives there, my cousin lives there, and they are following the rules set by Governor Cuomo, okay? But everyone else, all the dumbasses that are crowding the fucking subways and the buses, are just chilling on the fucking sidewalk, you are part of the fucking problem. And you're causing people to die.
Yep.
And that's why Dr. Fauci said that we could be looking at close to 300,000 deaths. He didn't say that in a way that's like there's going to be 300,000 deaths for sure. He's saying that because they're doing that based on a modeled projection of what is going to happen if you dumbasses continue to do what you're doing.
Do you want martial law to come into effect?
Yeah.
This is how you get martial law.
Exactly.
This is how.
Like, if you don't want to be under military rule, okay, then stay the fuck home. It's that simple.
Guys, they're passing out right now. They're going to start passing out $6,000 tickets if you disobey this in certain states.
Yep.
Up to even 12,000. Like, yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have an extra $6,000 floating around just to, because I had to go to 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee. That's not worth it. Stop it.
Like, and here, our governor, instituted a. I mentioned this before, but we're under mandatory 14-day quarantines. And also now extended quarantine following the April 30th declaration. But if anyone is caught breaking the quarantine guidelines, the first penalty is $5,000. The second penalty, if you're that dumb to try it again, is 1 year imprisonment. So
you guys,
really,
come on.
Yeah, ask yourself, is it really worth it? And
also, guys, too. Sorry, Sam. Go ahead. I was just gonna run through a protocol thing.
No. You go. You go ahead.
Okay. So, like I said, you guys, we're supposed to be going out once a week to do your grocery shopping. I understand. Even like myself, I've had to go a couple times. To go to the pharmacy, to see a doctor, that sort of thing. And real quick, so the pharmacy, I went to Walgreens, and they're being very cool about everything. They have signs everywhere. They have stickers on the floor that are spaced out 6 feet so you know how far away to stay from the next person in line. The cool thing, they all have masks and gloves on, of course. But at the pharmacy in the back, when you have to press the keypad, they have cotton swabs so that you don't have to even touch like where you put your credit card in. You can use the cotton swab to press the buttons, and they have a garbage one to throw it away when you're done.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Right. And they did release a protocol too when you come home. So guys, this is when you come home from anywhere. This is if you come home from work, a doctor, the store, anything. When you come home, this is the protocol, and I'll post it in the comments of this live stream too, so you guys can see it. So the protocol, this is starting from when you walk in the door. Okay, take your shoes off before you enter the house. Spray alcohol on top and bottom of your shoes. You can also do that to clothes, cell phones, glasses, keys, work utensils, computers, tablets, that sort of thing. We just got a spray bottle and we kind of mixed it ourselves. Throw away any receipts or papers. Also, this does include mail. I know we don't think about it as often as we should, but mail is very dirty as well. It has to be passed through several hands. So just don't come home and, throw it on the table like you normally would. We've been putting ours in a little bin by the front door, and going through it and keeping it up there. Anyway, so shoes off, spray alcohol on your shoes. Same with your clothes, cell phone. Guys, your cell phone and your keys are disgusting. If you set it down on a countertop, if you drop your keys on the floor, They are disgusting. Please spray them. And when you come in, if you can, try to, take your clothes off that you were wearing outside. We've been putting ours right into the washer so that there's no, it's not sitting anywhere. Also, just try to put a laundry basket by your front door with a lid on it. That works too. So come in, take your shoes, take your clothes off, get into comfy clothes. That's what we do. But honestly, don't touch any of your chairs or beds. Go to the bathroom, take a shower, brush your teeth. At the very least, wash your hands when you come home from anywhere, even if you just went to get the mail.
Mm-hmm.
When you come home, take these precautions, wash your hands, and then you can hug your family. You can, just go about your business. But I mean, when you guys come home from being out in public, you're bringing home all of the germs. And us germaphobes, we always think of this, so it's our time to shine, baby.
Mm-hmm.
But you just, we just keep stuff by the front door, so it's an easy transition.
Yeah. And we also, like, I understand too that not everyone is, is going to be that diligent when it comes to the coming back home and stuff. But at the very least, the main thing is, guys, you still want to wash your hands. You do not want to touch your face, because that is the main mode of infection. Is when, especially if someone sneezes and it becomes aerosol. If that spray is on top of a surface and then someone goes and touches that surface and then rubs their eyes or scratches their nose or whatever, that is when you get infected. So at the very least, keep washing your hands. If you've got gloves, what I've been doing is, like, I have a box of gloves here, and these are the non-nitrile black gloves. But what I do is, when I take them out of the box, first thing when I put them on is I wash them like I would if I was washing my hands. I still do that too, washing my hands every day. But when I put on gloves, I wash them with soap and water as well, for the same, over 20 seconds is what I do. But that way, before you touch anything, because honestly, you don't really know where these gloves were, manufactured. You don't know who handled them. So if you've got gloves, I would suggest you wash them the same way you would your hands, and then, that way you have that you've been able to remove potentially anything that might be on the surface. So
most gloves, I will say, should be safe, because they do have to be in hospitals and doctors' offices, and they're not going to separate the ones that go to the doctors or the ones that we buy.
Mm-hmm.
So don't, it's one of those things, don't tell yourself that, hey, I'm going to wear these gloves, I'm going to wash these gloves several times. He's just saying the first time you put them on, you can wash them. That does not mean that you go throughout your entire day wearing the same pair of gloves. Mm-hmm. That is counterproductive, people. You might as well not be wearing them. So, yeah, this is just the first time you put them on, wash your hands, wash the gloves, that's fine. But, I mean, and it's just one of those things, it's so simple, you guys. It is so simple what the guidelines are right now. And I know to some people it's so overwhelming, but it's so simple. Just wash your hands, people. Don't touch your face. Cover your mouth when you sneeze or cough.
Yep.
Just, it's preschool manners. I mean, this is stuff we learned in preschool,
Yep.
So just slow it down. Don't get overwhelmed. Just kind of take a breather. Don't try to rush through it. And just logically think, hey, how can I just keep myself a little bit more clean and be mindful of it? Just slow it down, people. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, and the other thing is, what I wanted to say too is, look, again, I know that the road ahead of us is we're in a totally different time now. We're living in history as as we speak, and a lot of us have had to make sacrifices. Um, this is entirely new to us. But here's the thing: a lot of us are struggling financially now. Um, there's a lot of people wondering how they're gonna, how they're gonna make money, things like that. But we should also keep in mind that if we have our lives, we can rebuild. We can get on our feet again. So by staying home, okay, you're the government for once is basically telling you stay home and do nothing. Stay home and
we're never gonna get this opportunity again, people.
Stay home and chill. It's by staying home and chilling, you are helping save the world. You're helping save people's lives. So it's simple,
It's a mindset of you are not stuck at home. You are safe at home.
Exactly.
I want you to everyone say that with me. Yep. You are not stuck at home. You are safe at home.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to look at it. And the other thing, real quick before we finish up, because we're going on 42 minutes here.
And it is 3:00 in the morning here, so please don't read too much into our babble right now. I mean, Sam's 6 hours behind me, but
yeah,
we're spreading the positivity, people.
Yep. And
sacrifices.
I'll probably get back into this again tomorrow. Whenever you're up, Nishay, I'll send you a message when I'm up, and we'll touch base. But what I was gonna say is, personally, what happened to me is, I would say, when we first started this podcast, you guys will know if you've heard the first couple episodes. I was really nervous. I went through the whole panic. I felt what a lot of you guys are feeling right now. Trust me. I had anxiety attacks. I had the whole 9 yards. But what happened to me? Those of you who know me know that I'm not. I've never considered myself religious. I'm not atheist, but I've never followed like organized religion. It's just something I'm personally not like involved in. But I have had in recent days, I've been able to find my own faith, and I've been on a spiritual awakening for myself, and I think I finally found my center. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think we're seeing a spiritual revival of sorts, not just throughout this country, but throughout the world as well. And people they're examining themselves on a spiritual level, emotional level, and it's amazing. It really is, because for me, when I had this total like eureka moment, I guess you could say, I felt stronger than I've ever felt in my life before, and I felt like I could take a deep breath finally, like that. I started to see the hope in the world, and just the sheer amount of love that people are showing for one another. And I I think that we are experiencing that. A lot of us are experiencing that to varying degrees right now. A
I
lot of people
agree.
are having a spiritual awakening of their own. Um, and so, what I'm thinking of doing in subsequent episodes, well, I'll figure it out. But what I do want to
Yeah.
do is try and talk a little bit about what what gives people what gives you center, like like Nashay, what makes you feel calm, or like if we get Aaron on, what makes her find her center, like what gives her
Yeah.
strength, and because we want to, this is a time to elevate, this is a time to come into your own, to be who you were meant to be. And for me, I think I found that. So I want to share my experience. You guys can, you can share your experience on whether it was recent, or if it was something that happened, months ago, years ago, whatever that caused you to find a source of strength. We want to know. We want to hear about that.
We want to know your guys' stories. And also, too, guys, if you're not experiencing like anything mind blowing or any, deeply spiritual things, you're not doing anything wrong. This is just a time that if you are struggling, we're really trying to be there for you guys that are struggling. We're not diminishing you just because you're not, if you're not having this, huge eureka moment. That's okay. That's Everyone is different. We're just here to encourage you guys to still make it through in as positive of a mindset as you can. So please don't think we're trying to, talk only about, the great stuff, the good stuff. We know so many of you guys are struggling, and we're struggling in our own ways. Everyone is struggling somehow, some way right now. But what Sam is really trying to do is to shine some light for you guys so that it's not as dark, it's not as scary, so you're not feeling spiritually isolated. We're just trying to help you guys out. We're trying to just really encourage any type of calming or happy thoughts that is going to help get you through these times. That's what we're trying to do.
Yep. Yep. So again, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, you can find these episodes on my SoundCloud at soundcloud.com /the Unity Podcast, all one word. I will be uploading this there most likely tonight, so it should be up later tonight or tomorrow morning. But I will also be posting this on YouTube. Thank you, Ashley. So my friend Ashley just said that in the live chat that it is helpful.
Yay!
Thank you. So yeah, follow my SoundCloud. I think you guys can download the track there. Download the podcast there too. Share that link with anyone that you think might want to hear something. Or yeah, and follow my YouTube channel, Electric Panda 808, all one word.
And if just his YouTube title does not give you happiness, I mean, come on, guys, it's an Electric Panda. Come on now. Come on.
Pandas
I know you guys are bored.
pandas are the shit.
Exactly. We know you're going down some YouTube hole right now. So you might as well go down the electric panda hole.
Right.
Come on.
So
We're giving free advice.
yeah. So, yeah. So just if you are gonna follow my YouTube channel, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and then slap that notification bell.
Punch
So that
notification bell.
yeah, so that you guys can
Stop it.
you guys can keep up to date whenever I upload something new. And I think we'll pick this up again tomorrow. So guys, before we go, again, just want to say, stay strong, stay united. We're all gonna get through this together.
Stay safe.
Stay safe, and just practice loving, practice compassion. You know, really, we're all the same species. Okay, this is the only planet we've got, so we're all in it. We're all in it together. So don't be fucking petty and racist. Okay, just
say it with me again. I am not stuck at home. I am safe at home.
Exactly.
I will get this tattooed on my body, so help me.
Yes.
Don't let it get to that, you guys. I'll do it.
And hey, that's a good idea. You know, when we get through this, okay, when this is
oh no.
Yeah, hey. You're the one that gave me the idea, okay? But
oh no.
When we get through this, because we will.
Yes,
we should
oh no.
tattoo. We should tattoo the date so that we can be reminded that we faced this and we came through it as a species together. You know,
yes.
Don't even get it if you don't want to get a tattoo. You know, just fucking write the shit down somewhere. Put it on a fucking post-it. Slap it on top of your fridge. I don't give a fuck. You know, just
do it.
Yeah, just have it there.
I'm gonna be looking for your COVID tattoo, Sam. I'm fully expecting one now, like a full sleeve.
Yep, I'll say I've been for years, and so for as long as you've known me, because me and Nishay, we've known each other for many years. I think what is it like
12 plus years, 12.
Yeah,
13,
like over 12 years at this point.
Yeah, we're aging ourselves.
When we were in high school, I was talking then about wanting a tattoo, and I never got a tattoo.
And you never have.
Yeah, so when this is all over, this is all over, I'm gonna try that, and maybe I'll live stream it. So we'll see.
I want to see you try not to cry. Yep.
Anyway, love you guys.
Thank you guys for listening so much. We love you guys.
Yeah, and please,
check out Sam.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate you, Sam, always.
Do it for you. So, if you guys want, you can share this live stream around. Just want to get the word out there. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And have a good night.
Have a good night, guys. Stay safe. We love you.
Love you. Okay.